So it's just, it's the two of us. Okay.
Yeah, if he doesn't.
That's fine.
He didn't make it to the last meeting.
Yeah, originally he said no, but then he had got a hold of me about an hour ago, so I could maybe make it, but it was 15 after, so.
I was at the homeless meeting. It's just one thing after another today.
I'm sorry. I know, I wish I would have known about the mop.
No, it's
I
okay.
would push this back a little bit, but here we are.
So Ryle is the chair, so somebody will have to.
Oh, you want me to call the meeting to order?
Yes, please.
It is
Tourism and Marketing.
Tourism and Marketing Board. I'll call the meeting to order.
Thank you. Do you need a second from me?
Do I need a second? I don't think so.
Okay. All right, so 2 items on the agenda today. They are both very large items that will dictate this department's actions over the next 3 to 5 years. So the first one is the Tourism Strategic Planning Services. The department had put out an RFP for those services in February. We received 17 proposals in response, 15 of which were eligible on the first round of evaluation scoring. One was not eligible due to being turned in digitally rather than sealed and mailed. And then one arrived 3 days late. If we hadn't had any eligible proposals in the original pool, that's one we could have considered, but being that we had 15 others, that was not necessary. I did create a pretty comprehensive evaluation criteria that was based upon the scope of work that was requested in that RFP and then scored based on that evaluation criteria. When that scoring came out, the top firm was JLL, Global Tourism and Destination Advisory. As far as financial impact, their services will be $100,000 plus a reimbursable $10,000 in travel expenses. We will need to pay them a $25,000 down payment prior to the launch of the services, which will be scheduled to start on June 6th, so that would come out of the budget. In the next couple of weeks here, we do have room in the budget in order to be able to pay that down payment. No issues there whatsoever. In your packet, we do have the RFP, all the different proposals, the scoring criteria, and then also a comparison between the top 2 firms that did score very closely to each other, JLL and CSL. Again, JLL is the recommended firm due to their depth of experience, their innovative proprietary tools that they use, of which are the Tourism Readiness Index, the Demand Scorecard, and then also the Event Matrix. I really love that they included events because they're very important to tourism. That's not something that was initially.
I'm so sorry. Where did you send this in an email?
There was an email that went out Monday
From you?
with a calendar invite.
From you?
Yes.
Okay, I was like looking for yours and I'm like, where is this?
Sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure I was following along. Okay.
So again, the fact that they included the event matrix was really compelling to me. It's not something that was specifically outlined in the scope of work requested, however, it's obviously pivotal to tourism. So it was just a really holistic, comprehensive, innovative proposal. And upon meeting with them in person, they had just fantastic energy that they brought to the table.
I felt, and I was in the same meeting and talked with them, and I agree, couldn't agree more. Really look forward to working with them. I think they had a lot of energy, a lot of knowledge to bring to McMinnville, and I'm excited.
And despite having worked with really large cities as well as internationally, it was obvious that they were very in tune with the difference that is required in these services for a rural community. They were obviously no stranger to that.
I think that would definitely earn you points in this topic of tourism to have that energy going for you.
Yeah.
Being excited to work for someone.
Yeah, they just, it felt very warm. They felt very excited. That is not the same vibe that I got off the other firm when I met with them.
Which is the other one that you know?
CSL was the other, and interestingly enough, a lot of their team originally came from JLL, so they have multiple members of their team that were originally employed by JLL. So they had started their own company. They have an impressive resume, but you can tell that they're not quite, you can tell they're a much newer company. They used a lot of templated responses. They didn't have those proprietary tools in their arsenal like JLL did. A lot of the ways that they were gonna garner information felt tedious to me as opposed to JLL that had a very streamlined process to, you know, identify stakeholders, whereas CSL was like, you're gonna sit down, you're gonna write it all out for us, you know? So there was just a major, well, they could both be viable. JLL really did stand out, and their pricing is exactly the same.
My computer won't even open this, so I don't.
Do you wanna,
Yeah, I would love to look at something if you have it. Thank you.
so there's that.
Is yours opening this? Is yours?
I,
You don't even know. Okay, that's fine. I was like,
I
what
got
is
up from my
wrong?
desk at school and grabbed this.
And then here's a direct comparison between those two.
Okay, thank you. So JL&L and CSL were the top scorers.
Yes.
Based off of what were your requirements? Like if you want to go over some.
Oh,
of them.
I had a plethora of them. Nolan, would you mind? So the overarching, which I broke down into smaller categories, were the firm's capacity and their experience, their personal understanding of what McMinnville, Warren County's strengths, weaknesses, challenges, and assets were. So I didn't just want to be like, oh, you're rural and you're outdoor. Like, I wanted to see that they understood who we were.
Was there a proposal? Like, could we pull the proposal up? Like, I'm guessing they covered like that.
The RFP or the evaluation?
I guess their presentation to you. Like, I would just be interested to see.
Yeah,
That's
is
what-
in your hand
that's what
too.
this is. Okay,
Yes.
good.
So
And
these
this
are
is-
what they responded with
This
based
is
on my
JLL's.
RFP.
Okay,
Yes.
great.
So you'll see in there, I mean, you can tell by just looking at it that it's innovative. I mean, they're using tools that they've developed that are not available to anyone else.
Do you tell us a little bit about the tools that they have, because you're saying they're proprietary, but I'm interested to know what that is.
Yeah, so the first is the Tourism Readiness Index. They come in, they look at, again, what our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats are, challenges that we face, et cetera. And based on that, they see where we're at as a city and county in order to pursue investment. You know, to say we're gonna bring in a distillery and 95% of our population says no, you know. So they're doing that work before they even begin stakeholder engagement, so they understand where we're at, so they can ask the correct questions of our stakeholders rather than kind of a spray and pray type of thing. Like, they can really, it's like, you know, we see that you might be prepared for a distillery. How do you feel about a distillery? You
Right.
know, so they'll have that prepped, whereas CSL, I really felt like they were gonna rely very heavily on me to dictate all that to them. You know, where are we at? What stakeholders should we be engaging? It would have been a lot of really tedious work. And not even necessarily just tedious work. I am still kind of new in this position, so I don't have as comprehensive of a vision and understanding of all those different things, and everyone that would need to be involved as someone that's lived here for 40 years, right?
Right.
So that they're taking that upon themselves through a proven method and an innovative tool, I thought was extremely impressive. The demand scorecard is going to look at different assets, not just in this community, but on a national and global level of what is trending, what do tourists want to see right now, what are they interested in,
Mm-hmm.
and then trying to integrate that into the proposed investments that would come to this county. Lastly was the event matrix. So again, looking at our assets, what we currently have, like say the Milner Center, and saying, hey, you would be great for sports tourism. You can absolutely start hosting tournaments here. Or understanding, that we might be doing something more musically inclined in the future, and building out those systems so that we can start landing those larger events. Again, I was really impressed that they included that it was just part of their system without it being specifically requested.
What do they identify as our tourism readiness index? Like, where
We
are
have to
we?
pay them for that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's just what
So they're
going
saying
to
they
do.
have this in our arsenal, and if we hire them, they will provide us that information. They have that tool available to use, but
Okay.
unless we hire them, we do not get that information.
Okay. So really, you were identifying companies that could help us identify what direction to move in regarding where we spend our tourism dollars, or
Exactly, and
Okay.
it's so much more than that as well. We're discussing ADA accessibility, we're discussing sustainability, workforce development, small business support. Like, this is far reaching beyond just tourism. It really is a community effort, and that's why we'll be bringing in, like a Wendy from IDB, the county. This is gonna be everyone involved in this because it affects every facet of the quality of life in McMinnville, Warren County. It's not just about bringing visitors here. It's about changing our county for the better, lowering poverty rates, creating jobs, lowering the tax burden on our citizens. That's the ultimate goal of this.
what are so we are today agreeing to allow you to pursue to go into contract with them?
Correct.
What's your, how do you get out of it if they're not living up to what we think that they're going to do? Because
We do have in our municipal code that there are caveats if they're not performing at a level rate. I have that at the end of the RFP. Do I have that?
is that a municipal code issue, or is
I
that,
think you did.
it should be in the do you have a contract with them?
No, we would be moving into a contract, but I literally copied and pasted our municipal code into the end of the RFP, like stating how we can get it, like how this will all work, where our liability lies, where our liability doesn't lie, et cetera, et cetera. So there was like a good page and a half of municipal code that I pulled specifically around proposals and proposal contracts.
We don't have you're voting to send this to the full board, for the board to vote on whether or not to enter into an agreement with this company. And then the company will present a contract that will come back, be reviewed by Tim, and we'll go from there.
So we're saying yes,
To
Enter
send
it-
it to the full board.
enter in, well, no, I understand that. I'm saying, but the full board is saying yes, go ahead and enter into an agreement with them before the contract's presented? Why wouldn't they present a contract before? So that everybody could review it?
Well, only the city attorney should review the contract.
I mean, usually in my packet though, we usually get like agreements when, I don't know, we're buying SWAT gear or whatever, it's usually like.
There's a difference between bids and proposals, but, so with proposals, I know when it, cause the financial portion is not as important as it is with a bid, and so I think this is more conceptually, the concept and the theory behind it is of the importance over the financials, and I think that's the difference between, maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but isn't that the difference between sealed bid and sealed proposal?
Well, at some point, we're gonna have to sign a contract with them, and it doesn't usually come at this point with a contract. We're recommending that we proceed with this company. And if you agree, then we'll get a contract in place.
Before we sign off on it,
Yeah,
will it come back around? It's, I'm sorry, I've entered into contracts with companies, and I'm not in any way saying that you haven't vetted them. I personally have entered into contracts with companies like this who sell a lofty idea. I'm not saying that they're not gonna, maybe they will. but you have to know at what point is this working for us? Like, we need some sort of standardized mechanism to say this isn't working for us, or it is working for us, or we need some sort of standardized.
So they do have their timeline in there, so I think part of that would be them abiding by the timeline that's agreed upon in the contract, that each deliverable in each one of those timeline
Page 45,
phases
okay.
is being accomplished. They do also have multiple references in there from very reputable sources, and so, you know, those references stating the quality of service that was provided to them in former contracts, I think speaks loudly.
What,
So Jordan, do you have a contract from them?
No, not yet.
what,
I mean, I'm sure they'd be willing to draft one for us.
I mean, they
Just
should.
premature.
It's, the only reason I say that, what rural communities have they worked with? Because I'm reading through here, and the ones that they're identifying, like Carlsbad, California, is
Yeah, so
not
I mean,
rural.
this proposal wasn't made from total scratch for this particular project. You know, they have a booklet that they
Right.
take certain parts. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I read 17 of them, so I can't
No,
say
yeah,
off the
and
top
so
of my head.
I'm looking at this, and this is great. Like, they're identifying, like, that's from McMinnville, that's from McMinnville, and a lot of these photos, not all of them. Some of them are stock, and that's great. And some of them they're identifying McMinnville. Some of them they have put McMinnville, Oregon, in here, and I'm like,
That's because I specifically called out McMinnville, Oregon in the RFP, that we have a lot of issues in the online presence with them, and so they're identifying that they recognize that we are struggling digitally in competition with McMinnville, Oregon. Are you talking about the pictures?
I mean, they themselves haven't necessarily identified, and I'm just like, I want to make sure people are, I mean, I know that you're going to correct something like that, and
Yeah,
I'm not,
of course.
but anyways, what other
Do you
rural
mind if I take
areas?
a
Sure,
look at that?
yeah, what other rural areas have they worked with?
I can't say that I had every single one of them.
Oh, that's fine, I just didn't know if you knew some offhand that,
So here actually is, and there are large cities in here, but there are also some that, I mean, I've never heard of them. And I think, rural, we need to consider maybe 50,000 or less, I don't know that just saying 15,000 across the board, is the way to
How
go
long
with
did it take you to review all these? 2 months?
60 hours probably.
Yeah. So
I
you
did-
spent a lot of time reviewing these, I guess is my question. And that is why you brought this recommendation to this committee.
I mean, I told you from the minute I read this one, I was like, this one stands out. Like, there is a major difference between this proposal and the other proposals that I am reading.
So a lot of time was spent.
And I don't know if you wanna pull up my criteria just to see,
Where's that?
okay. If you go into recommended strategic plan, second from the top,
Oop.
and then go into proposal number 4. So I had 4 different main categories, and then each of those I broke into 2 to 5 different specific qualifications, scored them, wrote notes in each of them. I mean, I was very
I can't.
thorough.
I can't see it, but, okay.
And they just, I mean, truly, as far as, and I created this criteria before I ever opened these, right? I didn't create it based on what I was seeing. This was based on the scope of work that I had requested of them. And they knocked it out of the park. In fact, the only place they really fell short in was price, because they were
The same
higher than
price.
many of the others. Outside of that, I mean, they scored pretty much 100% on everything.
Here, I can probably get it pulled up on your iPad if you'd like me to try.
Can you?
Yeah.
Okay, great, okay. I just ask that you ask them for contracts sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that they have a fairly templated one, so I can request that, we can see what that looks like.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we approve it.
A second.
Thank you.
There's two things, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So, the other half of this, which these two sets of projects go very, very in hand with each other. One is more the strategic plan, more economic development, workforce-based, investment-based. The other half of it is our story, our brand, our digital presence.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, we could have hired within these proposals for that, but I felt that we really wanted somebody that was local to Tennessee, really understands us and specializes in storytelling. So with the branding comes a lot of different elements. When I put out the RFP, I really hadn't been able to work on the website very much. Since then, I've had the opportunity. It's 8 years old, it does not function anymore. There are major performance issues with it. It's a very basic theme that they used a lot of plugins to create. Those plugins have undergone hundreds of updates cumulatively and do not work with each other anymore. It is time to scrap it and start from scratch. Other elements that were requested were ad creation and then marketing campaigns. So the marketing campaigns and ad creation would obviously occur after the website is built. I reached out to many different companies for all these different services. Some of them could kind of provide them all, some of them could provide one. The one that really came back as being able to take everything in under one roof and do it extraordinarily well was Design Sensory. Design Sensory did our branding and website in 2018. They know us, they like us, they do a fantastic job. They can execute every single one of these services from start to end within the timeline that I need. They're very excited to work with the strategic planning team and work hand in hand in stakeholder engagement, etc. They have a great timeline. And just as far as being a one-person department, it's really important, I think, for me to be just working with two very good firms rather than trying to work with 7 to save us $5,000, right? So that's between their quality of work, their creative design, them already knowing and loving us, what we already knowing and loving them, and then their ability to just execute absolutely everything. That was the recommendation, rather than trying to piecemeal all the different projects together for the same outcome.
That's hard to piecemeal when you're trying to have a cohesive brand, you know?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I
It
agree.
would have been, working with them on the branding, and then working with this other company on the website, and are you getting them the things they need, and,
And they're not,
and
ever.
it would have maybe saved us a little bit of money, but I don't see it going well, and I see, it,
You as the middleman.
my other work falling behind trying to coordinate all that. For the branding specifically, since Nolan has it up,
Did they give
Chandler,
us,
say what?
did they give us any samples?
So kind of. So they also put in a proposal, and the other thing that really struck me about their proposal and got me really excited was the other proposals that I received were it was either like, what you have isn't broken, so let's not fix it. Let's just, clean it up a little bit. Or them not really knowing us and being like, well, you're waterways, so we'll just go waterways. And then, Design Sensor about this since Haven, like, this is what everyone else is doing right now. What can you do to be different? Everyone else is facing right now, like charming downtown or nostalgia or et cetera, and they're like, let's be bold, let's be futuristic, let's change what we're doing here so you stand out amongst all these other destinations. And it just, even reading it, it got me excited. I'm like, this is great, this is fun, this is innovative. You know, it was exciting to even read it. And I just think they're a really fantastic creative team, and that they're going into this with this mentality of how do we differentiate you from everyone else? What can we do differently for you that no one else is doing? That's a great way to start a project, and it's very exciting.
Our computer.
This one is like, I think 400 megabytes because they're creatives, right? So there's a beautiful picture and design on every single page.
I can't wait to see it.
It's gorgeous. I mean, the proposal in and of itself is a piece of artwork.
So I'm having to try to back
Thank
into.
you.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you can just tell when the proposal is a piece of artwork, like they're gonna do a great job, right?
Do they specialize in cities, like making art only for cities, counties, things like that?
So they did Art Pass Brandon, they have Visit Knoxville's right now, they have Visit Chattanooga's right now. It was really fun for me because they've done a lot of the cities in Wisconsin, and so it's really cool to look at the places I know and grew up with and see how they've changed. It's like, that is the perfect, like, that is Eau Claire, you know?
Oh, you're from Claire.
And their websites are gorgeous. They're incorporating all these new fun designs, like interactive maps that are like very artsy and character based, and it's just, it's very fun, forward thinking, aesthetically pleasing. It draws you in, it makes you want to engage. It's just really fun stuff.
What part of Wisconsin are you from? Sorry, I thought she was handing that back to me.
Well, originally smack dab in the center, Stevens Point, but we lived in Door County for the 2 years before moving here, so the tourist epicenter of Wisconsin.
We had friends that lived in Wisconsin, so while this is loading, I know that I'm just waiting
Where
for it.
from?
We had friends that lived in Johnson Creek, yeah. And anyways, when we lived in Chicago, we didn't have like a grill or an outdoor space, so we would drive up there to have like green.
We had a lot of that in Wisconsin. A lot of green, a lot of grills.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've heard of that. Is it like South Central?
It's south, yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't far from, like, when we would drive up from Chicago, it was just like an hour or
Okay.
two, maybe.
Yeah, so I was like directly north of Madison by an
Okay.
hour and a half. Very, very rural. farmland.
Gosh, I wish that this would. I really want to see
Okay,
it.
do I
Yeah,
have it
it's-
at my desk?
You might have to open it outside of Teams.
Um,
If you press the three dots next to that, you should be able to go to open at the top and choose to open in the app.
Do you want me to download Teams on this, or do you want, okay.
Sure. Do we use it? Do people?
We do internally quite a bit, but I
Okay.
don't know.
I don't know if
yeah,
your team's this or not.
It's a monster file.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually,
That's my world I live in all day, every day, so.
I tried to start compressing some of them for Randa, and it just, that was a task in and of itself. Well, let's talk financials a little bit, why this is going then. So for that entire scope of services, so we're talking about the branding, the new website, digital asset creation, they're gonna come here and do the photography and videography with the influencers like they did in the past, which if you look at what we have on the website now, it's beautiful. But it'll just be updated a little bit and maybe showcase some of the other assets that weren't initially showcased in that are really important to our tourism efforts. They're gonna do all our ad creation, they're gonna create our marketing campaign, deploy it for us, monitor for us, evaluate for us, change it when necessary. So this will not just be putting it up on Facebook. They're gonna look at what our target market is, where our target market is. So if you are our target market and you are mostly on Google, Deetra, they're gonna put the ads on Google. You know, they're gonna make sure they're placing them where they need to be placed to have the highest impact. They'll do A and B testing, so they'll run 2 different campaigns, whatever one performs better, then they'll change the trajectory of the campaign that isn't performing as well. They'll do our web hosting and SEO management. I don't know if any of you know anything about SEO, it is
Awful.
difficult, it changes constantly,
Mhm.
and it is incredibly necessary. So they will provide every single one of those services. It'll be $135,000. So that'll be over the next year for every single one of those services. 30% down payment in this fiscal year. Again, we have plenty of room in the budget for this year to pad that. They'll start in tandem with the strategic planning services so that the stakeholder engagement can occur together. And then the remaining balance will be just paid as the milestones are completed. So like when the website is done, we'll be billed for the website, you know, et cetera. When the photo and videography is done and edited, we'll pay for that. This one, again, I don't have a contract for them. I can certainly request it though. That's it.
The services are a little bit more tangible in this.
Yes,
and
they
so-
certainly are.
Yeah.
They're much more feel-good than the strategic plan. I definitely understand that. These are certainly more tangible. I mean, the strategic planning services, it's like when we did it for the city, they're providing us recommendations. I mean, they're mostly, you know, I don't wanna use the word theory-based, cause that's not the case. They're gonna provide us strategies that are actionable and implementable. I also put in the budget implementation services for that strategic plan,
Okay.
so that they will come alongside me monthly and ensure that we are meeting the milestones that they have set forward for us.
Okay.
So back to branding though. So this is all, you see these photos in here, these are of McMinnville that they did for us last time. Like you can tell, they're amazing, they're high quality. The reason that we're looking at the branding again, when they had put this out, and they have this right in here, when they put this out 8 years ago, we really didn't have anything like this in place. And they were looking at what is McMinnville, Warren County. 8 years ago, it was nursery capital of the world.
Mhm.
We really didn't have, or at least weren't thinking about these other elements, right? Not thinking about the waterways, not thinking about
Caves.
all these other, the
Right.
caves, exactly. We weren't thinking about the outdoor adventure. We were thinking about we are nursery capital of the world. And so they really based the branding and storytelling on that concept. Not to say that we can't ever pursue nursery capital of the world from an agritourism perspective in the future. It's not where we're at right now. We are outdoor adventure right now. They already have some super cute ideas in here like cave to cliff, or, you know, I just think it's really gonna set us apart. It's not only an outdoor recreation destination, but one that is very complemented by excellent food, wonderful retail, a gorgeous downtown, but having that outdoor recreation more centric to our story. So, I mean, they took a look at the website, they're like, you're in trouble here, this is bad. Like, what you have going on here is not a good thing.
Before you leave, we'll get it downloaded to our
They also
computer, but-
ranked us of where we currently sit compared to comparable counties. That's not where we wanna be, or where we should be, quite frankly, like,
Who's
we're
at-
better than this.
Who's at the top? I can't.
O'Brien,
Obine? Oh, wow.
O'Brien.
Which is
Yeah,
just
Oban County.
north,
I
that's
don't know
north
why they
Upper
would be
Cumberland, right?
at the top.
Oh, no, I'm thinking of Overton.
Okay,
So,
These
yeah.
are comparable to Warren County, apparently.
that's offensive.
I think population and asset wise maybe. So this is where they're talking about, what is everyone else doing right now? What can we do differently to
Mhm.
stand out? I mean, it's a compelling proposal. I felt compelled by it.
What is there, are they giving you some ideas of like, everybody's doing what now, so how?
Yeah,
are
so they do talk about that. They talk a lot about how, you see, step back in time, how everybody's doing this nostalgia based, look at our old architecture, our cute, charming downtown, you know, what we were rather than what we can be.
Okay,
So they're saying future hook, they're saying, you know, a lot of people are doing we have something for everyone.
mhm,
If you have something for everyone,
You have
you don't have
nothing.
anything good for anyone.
Right.
And so they're like, you need to move away from, you know, everybody's doing this where it's like, we got shopping, we got food, we got everything, no matter who you are, we got something. Like, no, you pick a lane and you drive fast.
Okay.
So, and I love this storytelling element. You know, it's not just a logo with a tagline. They're gonna write us probably a 2 or 3 page story that when we read it, I guarantee we will all be moved. Like, I've heard them before, they're moving. You know, you're like, that is us, that's beautiful. So, and then talking about the website, different ad campaigns they've created, better breakdown of the cost, but again, it's gonna be $35,000. That doesn't include the ad spend, I put that in a separate category, hoping to spend $108,000 in actual advertising this year, so about $12,000 a month starting in, once the website is completed and the ad campaign is completed.
So the timeline, what are we looking at here?
I printed that for you, so I thought you might wanna know.
Thanks. If my computer worked, I would be able
So
to see.
that is the strategic plan in tandem
On
with
top
the
of.
branding website. So that is the whole timeline for both sets of projects.
Okay. We're a little behind, I guess, with Design Sensory, given.
Did I start May
You started
with
in
them?
May, yeah. I mean, that's fine, I'm just saying.
Yeah, and you know, I think I had originally put that in there because I wanted to get started on the web design. But after talking to both firms, they both felt more comfortable kind of starting everything at the same time, which makes sense to me. I was just thinking from a standpoint of I really don't want to lose any marketing time. I don't have to because we've already lost at this point about 1.5 years of marketing, and it's really showing in our rankings that we've lost that time. So I was trying to be diligent, but at the same time, quality is more important than getting an extra month of advertising, so.
Right, okay. All right, I'll make a motion that we approve this one.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I didn't do the all those in favor on the first one, so
I'm in favor of the
we'll,
first one too.
we'll also go back and do that too.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sorry that I made you talk for so long, but I was really interested, so.
No, that's good. I mean, now I'm gonna be so articulate when I go before all of you. Got it all out on this one.
I'm excited about this. This is a great thing that needs to happen for this city, so.
Yeah, and for it all to happen in tandem, and again, really that the ultimate goal is quality of life for our citizens. To me, that's so exciting that we can use these beautiful efforts of creating experiences for people to better our citizens' lives. Like, I can't think of anything, like, that's so cool that I get to be a part of that.
That everyone gets to win.
Yeah,
Which is
exactly.
like immigration law. It's also like everyone gets to win. I'm off the record, right? No,
I was gonna say, we're not recording that.
We are.
All right.
Okay, well, thank you for your time. I know that went quite a bit longer than we were anticipating, so thank you very much.
So we have, 4 o'clock.